We all love jokes. Well, most of us. They make people laugh, they lighten the mood, they cheer us up when we're feeling down. But sometimes, they ruin people's careers, get them in trouble with the military, or they become Austin comics. Today on Jokelore, we're talking about jokes that went too far. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel. It's a YouTube channel called Jokelore, where I talk about joke lore. Please like and subscribe. Kramer's racist rant. This first story is pretty infamous if you're in the world of comedy at all. Back in 2006, a stand-up comedian named Michael Richards, who you might know as Kramer from the hit 90s TV show Seinfeld, said the gamer word. That's right, on a chilly November's night in 2006, Richards was doing stand-up at the Laugh Factory in West Hollywood, and you could say he was having a rough set. He had some hecklers in the crowd, some of which happened to be African American. After some unwanted comments from these hecklers, Richards became visibly irate and proceeded to make the worst decision of his career. For the next few minutes, he would unleash a racist rant using the N-word multiple times and making references to slavery that I don't wish to repeat here. The whole thing was recorded by an audience member and posted online, and soon after shared by news outlets. Richards tried to smooth things over, even going on The Late Show with David Letterman, which was one of the biggest talk shows in the world at the time, alongside his super famous pal and totally not a sus guy either, Jerry Seinfeld, to apologize on national TV. However, the damage was already done, and so was Kramer's career. Since the incident, he's mostly stepped away from comedy and focused on his family, probably a good move, but he has made a few appearances on shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm and Kirsty. Richards has rarely spoken publicly about the incident, but there were meta references to it in the Curb episode, and he did talk about it at least once on Jerry Seinfeld's Weird Car Talk Show thing. Anyway, who cares? F those guys. This next one is a bit of a callback to a previous video. It's Gilbert Gottfried's 9/11 joke. To set the stage for this one, we need to go back to the time just after the September 11th attacks, when America and the whole Western world pretty much were in a state of shock. Just a couple of weeks later, the roast of Playboy magazine founder Hugh Hefner would take place. And while I'm sure it certainly wasn't expected, the upcoming roast, featuring a dais of some of the best comedians in the country, was seen as a welcome distraction from the recent unbelievable horror that America had just endured. And then Gilbert Gottfried went up and told a 9/11 joke. He told a f***ing 9/11 joke less than 3 weeks after it happened. Who f***ing does that? As you may have guessed, the audience were totally pissed off, and it looked like Gilbert's set was in the toilet. But some of you might already know that Gottfried was miraculously able to save his set by pivoting immediately into The Aristocrats, which I talk about in my previous video, but it's basically a really popular, really vulgar joke that used to be popular among comedians, and the way that the joke was set up, anyone could put their own personal spin and style on it. So Gilbert Gottfried pulling out this joke immediately after bombing a 9/11 joke. Do you think he did that on purpose? Holy shit. Anyway, him doing that joke at that exact moment was basically the equivalent to fighting fire with fire and winning, because the crowd exploded and people were literally falling out of their seats from laughter. And that's why the man is a legend. R.I.P. Gilbert. Chinese comedian pisses off the military. Our next story happened a lot more recently. In 2023, a stand-up comedian in China named Li Haoshi, stage name House, told a joke that got him in trouble with the People's Liberation Army. On May 13th, 2023, during a live performance in Beijing, House told a joke involving his 2 dogs chasing a squirrel, saying that they reminded him of a slogan that President Xi Jinping used to describe the PLA. And in case you're curious, the slogan is "Fine style of work, capable of winning battles," according to Google. Not super catchy, but while this light-hearted jab at the military initially got laughs from the live audience, House had just royally pissed off the Chinese army. State media and commentators lambasted him, accusing him of humiliating the military. And the consequences weren't limited to just him. Even his agency got in trouble, reportedly being fined roughly 14.7 million yuan, that's about 2.1 million USD, and they even confiscated the ticket money from the event. Last but not least, the Beijing police opened a formal investigation on House for, quote, seriously insulting the military. And according to Chinese law, slandering the military is punishable by up to 3 years in prison. Needless to say, House is no longer in the comedy business and is seeking other opportunities. I wish him the best and hope he's doing well. Tony Hinchcliffe's Puerto Rico joke. Our next story happened the following year in 2024 when failed Los Angeles comedian and successful Austin podcaster Tony Hinchcliffe took the podium at a Donald Trump rally. Don't even get me started on Austin comedy. I'm sure Tony was feeling high on his horse, having recently killed at the highly televised roast of Tom Brady. But the difference between having a team of writers that would make Beyoncé blush and writing your own shit is a pretty big difference. So while Tony was meandering his way through some lukewarm material about Latin American immigrants, he busted out this knee slapper.
There's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Cool joke, man. While the backlash didn't have any lasting effects on Tony's career, he was noticeably shaken by it and reportedly spoke about the fear of getting canceled over it with some of his closest colleagues like Joe Rogan. What did he do afterwards, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. He went on to release a new special called Garbage, haha, on YouTube that's currently still under 100,000 views, when by comparison Kill Tony gets millions of views every episode. At least he hasn't had this special scrubbed from the internet yet. Austin is as Austin does. Our final story comes hot off the heels of the recent tragic and fatal ICE encounter with 37-year-old Renee Good in Minneapolis on January 7th of this year. During an altercation with ICE agents, Renee Good, an unarmed mother of 3 who had just recently moved to the city, was fatally shot. Less than a month later, Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old nurse and Minneapolis resident, was also shot to death by Trump's ICE agents. Understandably, the community were beyond heartbroken and enraged, with the DOJ even blocking local authorities from conducting a proper investigation. Enter stand-up comedian Ben Bankas, an edgy comic who came from Toronto and moved to Austin. This just writes itself. On January 9th and 10th, just days after Renee Good's death, Bankas performed at a club in Poughkeepsie, New York. He made some tasteless jokes about her death, to put it very lightly, and posted them on social media where they went viral. Among other things, Bankas made fun of Good's surname, saying it was good that she was in the face. You know, Austin stuff. In response, several of his upcoming sold-out shows at the Laugh Camp Comedy Club in St. Paul, Minnesota were canceled, with the venue owner saying the cancellations cost him around $17,000. Bankas remained defiant throughout the backlash, saying "F*** him" regarding the Laugh Camp, and boasted that his social media following had exploded, as he appears to have gained over 200,000 followers since the controversy. And to that I say, well done, Ben. You're well on your way to becoming one of the top 250 comedy assassins. I can't wait to see you on JRE. Anyway, f*** that guy too. That's the end. Please like the video if you liked it, and tell me in the comments what you thought of these jokes, or if you have any other examples of jokes that went too far. Please talk to me in the comments. I'm the only person here. I don't have a team. I just do this. This is all my doing. So please. Okay, bye.